crafternoon, everyone. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Today we're going to have some fun because I have a special surprise for you today. I'm really excited about this, and I hope that you guys find as much joy in it as I have been having lately. But before we get to the surprise, we're going to get right into it here and say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
I thought I was the surprise.
Well,
Not.
Sometimes.
That's okay. Hi, everybody.
It's good to see you.
Happy crafternoon.
Are you excited to be here today?
Yeah, I am thrilled to see the surprise along with everybody else.
Me too. I'm excited to show everybody. So, do you have a word of the day later?
I do have a word of the day.
All right. Well, that's going to be an extra fun surprise.
Yes. It's a very silly word of the day.
Okay, good. We need some silly in our lives, right? We need some fun and some laughter and some silly, and that's what we're going to do today. But, okay, so I'm going to get right into the surprise. So, I know that everybody has loved our 3D embossing folders, and I love them too. And I was poking around in the warehouse getting ready for our holiday release, and I saw this palette. And I looked at the palette and I'm like, what's in that palette? And I opened it up, and the most beautiful thing that I had forgotten all about was in this palette. So, because we got all of the orders out early, we got all of the orders out from our last release in 7 business days, guys. That's like a record for us, 7 business days. There were a couple of days in there where our team got 1,000 orders out a day. It was insane. They worked so hard to get all those orders out. And we have a couple of weeks before our next release, so we decided to release a brand new 3D embossing folder for you today. And when you see this one and I show you how to use it, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. So one of my favorite flowers for fall are zinnias. Zinnias have that mum feeling to them, but they're just so just fluffy and round and beautiful. And they are absolutely one of my favorite autumn flowers. So let's introduce it. This is the brand new Sensational Zinnias 3D embossing folder. It has 2 dies in it to cut out the flowers separately if you want to, and it's got a 5-piece. Now, I'll count those again to make sure that I have it right, but I believe it's a 5-piece layering stencil set. And you need almost every one of these pieces, and I'll explain what the extra one is and how you use that one if you want to use it. But you need all of these for doing these different techniques. But the technique that I'm going to show you today is how to get this zinnia to look really fluffy and to have lots of depth and dimension. So this is a gorgeous folder. Honestly, I mean, they just keep getting better and better. They really do. I'm so excited about this one. And you know the florals, like our wildflower stems and our ruffled florals, I mean, they have just been going crazy. People have loved them so much. And the thing about these zinnias is zinnias are a late summer, early fall flower. And by the way, this is available now in the What's New category on our website. You have to scroll past a couple of products to find it because they go kind of in alphabetical order. But it's there now. We put it up right at noon. So this, I'm going to put this away because this is my sample one. I'm going to use the one that I've been using at home to play with. Now this, let's pull it apart here so I can show you all of these. Oh, thank you, Brianne. Brianne's already doing her Link Ninja stuff. Thank you, Brianne. We love you. Thank you for helping us find everything. All right, so there are 5 different stencils in this one. So this is a very big design here. And you also get, I put it back in the container last night. I like to actually keep this card with my stuff. It's got 2 dies. Now these dies are tabbed together, and I would leave them tabbed together. Don't cut them apart. You don't need to. I mean, the smaller the dies, the easier they are to lose, right? And these you're always going to cut out first anyway. So just leave these tabbed together. You can cut 2 out and you can emboss them and color them in. And then you've got this gorgeous folder, and I've been using this folder like crazy. All right, so there are 5 different stencils in here. Now the first stencil you're gonna see is this big one. Now this is great if you just want to add overall color to the design, or you want to add some kind of maybe embossing powder where you would like dab in embossing and watermark ink and then do clear powder over it. Maybe you want to add fused foiling gel over it, not to foil, but just to let it dry clear to give it lots of shine. Maybe you want to add a little bit of glitter on it, so you want to just lightly put a little bit of clear glue over it and pour some glitter over it. This one is great. Or if you just want to do a single color and just have a little bit of color. It's also really great if you want to do like a white look over it, where you're embossing your cardstock in navy or craft and you just want that soft white appearance all over it. Just use this stencil over the whole thing and use a sponge dauber to dab your white ink on top. But this one isn't necessary if you want to break out the color, because these 4 stencils together create that same design, except it breaks all of the different layers out. And that's what we're going to do today, because I really think that it's important for you to see how to create this very fluffy look. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and the color I'm going to use today for this is Tangerine Twist. Now I'm only going to use one color, and that's what's really cool about this. You can certainly do all the colors you want. So you could do this in pinks and oranges and yellows and golds and have your zinnias very multicolored if you want. But you can also create this very fluffy look using just one color, and that's what I want to show you today. So let's start by, and I'll do another video using the white ink with this stencil, with this folder, because I think it's, I mean, this folder's great and there's a lot of things that you can do with it. You can also do the sepia, you can do the grayscale with this, but using this technique that I'm going to show you today is the best way to get lots of depth and dimension. All right, so we're going to start out with the Intracut die cutting machine. Now, I do not know the perfect shims for other die cutting machines. I do get asked that a lot. I will tell you with this particular folder, normally on the back here, it gives you a jump off point for the Intracut. So place your cardstock in your 3D embossing folder, turn the setting dial, and set it to 2D. I know it's 3D, but our embossing folders, they're super thick and super sturdy, so you're going to use 2D for ours. We have a 3D for this, but we have a 3D for our machine because a lot of other 3D folders are different thicknesses, and we wanted to be able to offer that as well. If you can't get to your wish list or your notify me list, I think it's the wish list, make sure you're logged in. That's sometimes you won't see it unless you're logged in. All right, and then it says to set the tension dial to 3. So I tried this last night, setting it to 3. I just wanted to see what it felt like at 3. It's way too tight. I didn't need it to be that tight, so I set it back to 0. The thing about these embossing folders is this is a jump off point. I'm sorry, it was too loose. Too loose. I had to set it back to 0. -3 is tight. You'll be able to see. Let me just show you this because I'm probably confusing everybody. With the machine, there is the dial that tells you either die cut 2D or 3D. For our folders, you're always going to stay on 2D. But this press and twist dial can go loose or tight. So we start you at 3 because we never want you to bend your folder. All right, so let's just say that. It was way too loose. That's where we started at 3. This one needs tightening because it's the nature of the design. Every design is different, and depending on how many layers of dimension that is put into the folder, sometimes you need it tighter, sometimes you need it looser. But if you start on 3, you're not going to damage your machine or damage your embossing folder. Now, I tried it last night on 3 just to see. It was just way too loose. So I would start at 0 for this one, and if you're still not getting the impression you want, you can go up a little further. But remember, I always use 80-pound cardstock when I'm doing my embossing on white. So I haven't tried this with our 100-pound cardstock. So when I switch thicknesses of cardstock, I'm always going to put it back to that 3 dial, because I don't want to bend my embossing folder and I don't want to damage my machine. I don't want to force it. And then if that's not tight enough, then I will move it up. If you're using our 120-pound cardstock, which is super thick, 3 might be the perfect setting. So I just wanted to make sure that you knew what I was talking about, because I say that a lot, but if you never get to see the dial, you may not know what I'm talking about. Okay. So now I've got the handle back in there. I'm going to open this back up, and I am just going to use the white platform. So with our 3D folders and our intercut, you only need the platform. If you have the original platform that came with the machine, you can just use the base. That's all you need. If you are using our magnetic plate, then you need the platform and the magnetic mat, the magnetic cutting mat, because these two together equal the same thickness as the white plate. All right?
Question.
Yes.
Let's see here. Do you have polyglaze sheets for the zinnias?
No, we don't. We don't have any polyglaze for this one. All right, so now I'm going to start with a piece of cardstock that measures about 4 1/4 by 6, just because that fits really nicely inside the folder.
And someone's checking, did you turn the machine back to 0?
No, not yet. Not yet. But I will. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the folder in, or the paper into the folder. I just want to see which side I'm on here. All right. Now, some of you prefer to spritz it lightly with water or spritz it lightly with alcohol, just because it makes it a little bit easier to emboss. However, it's not necessary, and I'm not going to do it today because I'm using our 80-pound cardstock. Now, I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to feel what it feels like going through. And see, this is like super easy to go through. I'm not even holding onto the machine. So I feel like this is still going to be not quite, no polyglaze ever for this one, Michelle. At least not right now. I mean, maybe down the line we might do it, but probably during our next reorder. So something like that wouldn't come out for another 6 to 8 months, probably 6 months at least. All right, so I felt like that just went through way too easily. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit to, I call it turning it up, turn it down, turn the tension higher to -2. And I'm going to run that through. Now, if you watched the video where Jennifer and I were using the sunflower, we went back and forth a few times just to add a little bit more pressure. And you can certainly do that. Okay. Alrighty. Now, I'm not sure if that's enough pressure, because it's certainly easy sending it through. So I might even bump it up a little bit more. You can see I'm not getting any bending on my folder at all. So I'm going to go up just a little bit more. I love a deep impression. And remember, when you have these embossing folders, uh-oh. Oh no, Tom. I knew this thing fell. My die cutting machine fell off of my car seat today, and I really thought it would be okay, but it isn't. Okay, Tom, I'm gonna need your strength over here. Wait a minute, maybe I can't. I got it. All right. Don't worry, I have another one. I have another one. You're gonna have to fix this for me later. It fell off the seat on my way here. Don't ever put your die cutting machine on your seat. Put it on the floor if you're traveling with it. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and turn that back. Now I'm going to just add a little bit more pressure to this. Right. And let's take a look at this now. Oh, so what I was going to say is, remember when it's 3D embossing, what you're going to find is certain parts of the flowers are not as deeply embossed as other parts of the flowers. That's the whole 3D thing, right? 2D, the embossing is consistent across the top. 3D, you're going to have petals that are shallow, you're going to have petals that are medium high, and you're going to have petals that are very high up. So you can see that is just a beautiful impression. Okay. I think that can be fixed, Tom. It has something to do with the handle. Okay. So now I'm going to use my sticky mat. And there was a question in our Facebook group about our sticky mat and how to clean it properly. And I saw a lot of mixed messaging in the group, so I just want to go over this really quick. This sticky mat is a lower tack mat. So it's not as sticky as some sticky mats, but it's still very sticky. It's just, it doesn't ever tear your paper when you're pulling the paper off. So when you clean this mat, you never want to use anything except water. No alcohol, no stamp cleaner, no soap, nothing. Just water. All of those other things are going to remove the sticky, because the sticky on this is similar to like pixie spray. You know what I mean? It's like tacky, but it's kind of like if I get sticky stuff on my desktop and I put a little alcohol on a paper towel and I rub it, it takes the sticky off. So you don't want to do anything like that because you're going to take the sticky off of this mat. So only water, and not a lot of water. Don't submerge it. Just take something like your tidy towel, lint free, and just wipe it down. And then I always keep the protective sheet on top of it, and that prevents dust from getting on it. Usually, if you take care of it like that, it should last a really long time. And usually the reason why it stops being sticky is just because it gets stuff all over it. Like, we're very dusty as crafters. We use, embossing magic pads, and we use embossing powder, and we use glitters, and we use all kinds of things. And if we're really doing what we're supposed to be doing, we're not dusting, we're crafting. So, it can get kind of messy. And so just a little light rub of water with your tidy towel will do it. All right, now I've got 3 layers here, and I'm going to go in order from biggest to smallest, if that makes sense. So this, you can tell the size of the flowers on here. We've got the biggest ones here, the middle ones here, and then the smallest ones here. And then there is one more layer, which is the inside layer. That's going to be last. So we're going to go in this order, and we're going to start with the biggest. So I'm going to line this up on here.
Quick question from Carla. Can you spray that mat with pixie spray and make it sticky again?
Yes, you can. You definitely can. Don't overspray it though, because pixie spray can be very, very sticky, which is good. You want it to be a sticky product, but you don't need to overspray it. I would rather you spray it, try it, and if you need a little bit more, add a little bit more than overspraying it and having your cardstock get stuck to it. If you've ever used a Cricut, you know how sticky their mats are, or a Scan and Cut, how sticky their mats are. This is not as sticky. We had ours designed to be not quite that sticky, but you know that if it's too sticky and you go to pull your paper off, it just tears the paper and it gets stuck on there. Now I'm using a little masking magic strip right here just to prevent my blending brush from getting on the top of the card, because I don't know how much of this I'm going to use. All right, so I've laid my first layer on here, and I have my trusty ink stand. Brianne, please link your ink stand for everyone, because customer service, it's one of our biggest calls. All right, now here's the key. I am going to use a new blending brush for this because I don't want any other color on here. And I'm going to use this medium size. Well, we call it our small size. We have a large, a small, and a detail. So our large brushes are big like this. Then we have our small brushes, which are small like this, and then we have our detail brushes, which are really tiny. I'm going to use this brush because I want to make sure that I have lots of white space left behind. And when I say white, I don't really mean white. I mean really, really pale tangerine. All right, so I'm going to start by inking this brush up with some tangerine, and I want to get it really heavy toward the center. All right, so I want heavy around the center. Now, I don't feel like that's heavy enough, so I really want to ink this up. So you see how I'm going real heavy around the center. And now I'm going to just lightly trickle that color out till it's almost nothing. See, I didn't really reload my brush here. Now, if you want more than that, you can have more than that if you want it. But the key is to get it really dark toward the center of each of these little openings.
Couple questions on things coming back in stock. Just a reminder, it's tough for us to have that kind of information on Alive. Best to maybe check in occasionally with customer service.
Yeah, and the best thing that you can do, because most of the time customer service doesn't know when stuff is coming in either, the best thing that you can do is just get on the notify me list, and when it comes in, you'll definitely get an email. We just don't have that information. I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, but a bunch of containers fell into the ocean in California. The ship finally made it to the dock, and then a bunch of containers fell into the ocean. So I'm hoping none of our stuff was on there because we were expecting a few things, so we'll see. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going real close to the center on each of these. And then I'm going with a real light hand as I go toward the outside. And this is the way we're going to make it look fluffy. Otherwise, if we didn't do it this way, and if you go with a heavy hand on all parts of this, you're not going to see the details. You're not going to see the difference in each of the layers and each of the petals. It's just going to look like just a solid coating of ink over the whole thing. Okay, so there's my first layer. Let's pull that off. Okay, that's so pretty. It's pretty already. Layer 1. Now let's move to layer 2. Get layer 2 on here. There we go. Looking pretty good. I'm gonna pat that down. And then again, I'm putting my masking magic up here just to block that off. All right, now let me get a big orange brush because I do want to show you if all you have is a big brush. All right, ink up your brush really well and stay right in the center. Just stay right in the center like that. Then wipe off your brush a little bit, just a little bit to get the excess off, and then very lightly work in a circle around the outside. So this way you don't have to run out and buy new blending brushes if you don't have them. All right, we'll do that with this one too. You'll start to see the dimension immediately when I pull this one up. Now I'm just gonna go super light-handed here because I feel like it's working. There we go. This one might be a little trickier because it's very small petals, but We'll just get right there in the center. And then just light-handed around the outside. Okay. I don't want to go too much. I might want to add a little more in this one, like close. Okay. Now I'm going to take this one off. So now you can start to see separation. See how if this was all, if you just went heavy-handed through all of this, you would just have all one color. But because you went heavy-handed near the center of that first row, and now these lighter petals are kind of laying on top there. Do you see that? So that is a way to do it. Okay. Now, if you want even more depth, let's go back. We'll add a little bit more depth into this. All right, I'm going to go back to this first layer again, just to show you another little trick that you can do if you feel like, no, I want it really, really deep in the center, the color. Let's just get this in the right spot, though, so we don't mess it up. Okay, that's good. So I went back to layer 1 again. Let's get another color. Let's do Coral Reef. All right. So now I'm going to take this Coral Reef and I am going to get a red blending brush. Just get rid of the excess red on there. And I'm going to add some Coral Reef in here, just along the inside. Coral Reef is a good one because it's definitely an orangey red. This will create even more separation between the layers to have a darker color in there. And then you can take your orange brush and you can just blend out anything that doesn't look super blended.
Question from Sue. She wants to know, does this folder lend itself to dividing the blooms like your last folder?
Dividing the blooms? I'm not sure what you mean dividing the blooms. I did a video the other day where I divided up a stencil. So that's a little bit different of a technique. So is that what, do you think that's what she means, Tom?
I think she's referring to what you did on that last.
Yeah, that last video, I used a stencil with a die cut, and it was the die cut that I divided. Now, this doesn't have a full die that's going to divide the whole thing up. So I would say no. This one, it does have dies for separate flowers, so you could cut separate flowers out and position them in different ways. But you're not going to be able to do the technique that I did on Tuesday night. So now you see how...
And if you request to zoom in, if you can.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Zoom in a bit. I know some of you watch on your 76-inch TV because you told me. All right, so see how adding that little bit of red under there made everything more fluffy. So we can do that again with layer 2. Just have to find the spot that we were at. So I'll do that on all of them. I will add that Coral Reef to all of them to create even more separation. Yeah, we have, just so everybody knows, as soon as things go out of stock, we do our best to reorder, but keep in mind that if, you know, like one color of cardstock goes out of stock and we have a couple that are close, we will reorder everything. But if we have everything in stock and then like one ink color sells out, we'll wait just a little bit because we have minimums that we have to meet when it comes to certain products. So some things take a little bit longer to come back in because of the way that we have to order. So if you've been waiting for something for a little while, it could just be that it was like the only thing in that category that was out and we just had to wait a little bit to order. But we just, we don't know when anything is coming back in stock, especially while we're live. It's like I can't grab my laptop and look and see if I got any shipping notices and stuff like that. So, okay. There we go. You see how it's really starting to fluff? Oh, this is so pretty. I love this stencil. Okay. Now we're going to go to the next layer down. I know this is such a pretty one for fall. I'm not done fall yet. I just, honestly, on my way to work today, I stopped at this little farm stand that's in our town. And I picked up some apple cider donuts. And they're so good. They're just so wonderful. And fall is just starting around here. We're just getting into it. So I don't like to rush the seasons too much. It's already bad enough that the end of September we do Christmas. And I know we have to do it because everybody has to have time to make their Christmas cards. But sometimes you go into stores and they've got their Christmas stuff up in July. I know we did Christmas in July too, so I shouldn't say anything about that. But you know what I mean. It's their main Christmas. That's too soon. We have to enjoy a little bit of life. We got to slow down a little bit. We're rushing through. All right, I'm going to go in with this smaller brush for this one, just because of that detail. I want to get in there. A little bit more orange. And now I'm going to go in with the Coral Reef. We did a Christmas in July this year. We've never done it before. It was very popular, and a lot of people really did like having their stamps early. But then it is nice to actually enjoy fall a bit.
Maria from England is wondering who our primary retailer in England is. Is that Bumbleberry?
Bumbleberry is one of our retailers in the UK. We also have other wonderful retailers. So what I would suggest that you do is go to our website, and at the top of our website you'll see a tab that says Our Retailers. Click on that tab, and then all the states come up, and then after the states we have all of the other countries, our international retailers. And check that list, because you might find somebody that's very close to you. So I would definitely check, because we've got a lot of wonderful retailers in the UK and throughout Europe too. So there might be, something that's still closer to you, even if it's not UK. All right. Oh my gosh, the depth in that just floors me. Now, I'm going to show you what happens if you don't do that. Let me find my little sample. Okay. So I feel like these, I did with 2 colors. I did this one with 2 colors. And I just went heavy-handed with the pinkish color. I think this was like one of the carnations, and then with Tangerine Twist. And it's pretty, but it doesn't look like this, right? That's what happens when you go too heavy-handed. I just did one of the die cut pieces. When you go too heavy-handed with color, you don't get the depth. So you see, by adding those darker shades, right, in the darker shade right in the center, and really letting the petals at the edges go super light-handed, you get, it looks like some of our amazing no-line watercolor people, how they do that with watercolor. I can't do that, but this makes me look like I can, right? So that's why it was really important for me to be able to show you this technique today, because this is pretty. It's not pretty, but it doesn't feel like this. So that's why I wanted to do it this way. All right, now we're going to go with the last layer here. Yeah, you definitely can add white pigment ink over the dark flower. Sure, you could try that and see if that works. But if you're going for that look, you know, that kind of no line look, it's so much easier to just do it the easy way, the right way first. All right, now this, I'm gonna do, I touched the brush to it, oh no. Let me wipe that off. I'm gonna do, see, Brienne should be yelling at me right now. She should be texting me saying, use 2 ink stands. What are you doing? I do have my other one here, so maybe I'll use 2. I expect a text, Brienne, next time I'm being a dummy. All right, so I'm gonna go light again. Just a little light. These are so small. Go with my medium brush here in the center. And then I definitely have to get some of that coral reef in there. And this kind of goes against all of my teachings when it comes to ink blending, because I always tell you to start off the stencil and then work your way in for, you know, a smoother ink blend. But for these, we definitely have to get that dark color in the center. So I am starting more in the center. I do have kind of a light hand, though, with this color. When I say a light hand, I'm not pressing hard. I'm just letting the color trickle off the brush. All right. Let's see what this looks like. Look at that.
Wow.
Doesn't that almost, don't they almost look real? Don't they almost look like you could just reach out and just pick them? Oh, that's nice. And I know that's a little white there. So let's say you're like, I don't know, I don't like it so white. You could always take your blending brush, whatever little orange is on there, and just do a little rub over it just to darken it up a little bit. But don't be afraid of the white, of the light. It's not really white, it's light. But don't be afraid of it, because that white or light color is what gives you the dimension. When you're looking at it through the stencil, it looks not finished, you know? It looks like, oh, that's not going to be vibrant or pretty, but just stick with it and just try it, you know? Now, zinnias, oh, I just shot alcohol across the room. Nobody light a match. Zinnias are such beautiful flowers, and they come in so many beautiful colors, bright, bright pinks and purples and, you know, golds and yellows. So, you know, you could make every single one a different color if you want. You could have a plum one, an orange one, and a gold one to make it look more, you know, more fallish, like a mixed bouquet. But also, don't forget, I always say this, and I know that a lot of you guys feel the same way. Any embossing folder like this could be used for Christmas. All you have to do is do it reds and greens and put a big, bold Christmas greeting over it, and it will be beautiful. I would never, ever look at a card like this in red and green with a Christmas greeting and saying, what were they thinking? I would say, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. So you could see most of that was done with just one color and then a little bit of a darker color in the center. If you don't have a coordinating color to do, then just go super light-handed and very heavy-handed in the center. For Plum Punch, the color that you would want to use in the center, if you want to use a second color, would be Edible Eggplant, because those two colors they're just made for each other. They're beautiful together. All right, I just want to make sure I cleaned all of these stencils.
So I have a question.
Yeah. Uh-oh. This usually ends up in a challenge in our group.
No, this is a good question.
Okay.
If you're doing something like this that has different weights of blending, one color or two colors. Is that something that's like you should practice, or it looks like something that you need to kind of practice to do really well? Is that the case? Or?
Well, it's yes. I mean, of course, practicing is always going to make it better. You're going to learn a lot. I'll show you a couple that I did last night that I think are terrible. But, okay, so I made this one last night. And I looked at that and I just went, ugh. Now, it's not terrible. It's better than horrible. It certainly would make an okay card. But it ain't that, right? Because I didn't give up. I didn't do this and say, oh, I don't like that. I also did this one and I didn't like it. I used light lilac and medium lilac and I didn't like it. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? What am I missing? And you know what I ended up doing? I ended up Googling zinnias and I really looked at them with a little bit more of an artist's eye. And I'm not an artist, but I learned from my daughter, you think you're seeing, sometimes you look at something and it's like two colors of red, right? You have the red outer petals and then you have the dark inner, and you see it as red because your brain knows it's red. You look at a rose and you go, that's red. And then Alicia said to me, but isolate that color. What color is it? And when I put my fingers around it and I'm like, that is black. And she's like, exactly. You know it's red because your brain has seen roses and you know they're red. But when you're actually building color, it's not always red. So I looked at the zinnias and I'm like, okay, these orange zinnias, I know they're orange, but I'm looking and this is a really, really deep red in here. That's not orange. So you definitely can get this look by just always making sure that you start real heavy in the center and you go real pale on the outside. Your brain knows that even though when we were stenciling that looked like yellow and that looked like red, your brain is going to look at that and go, those are orange flowers. But there's 3 different colors in there, right? There's that super pale, almost yellowy orange on the outside, the true orange more toward the middle, and then that red, coral reef red in the center. So that is going to help you, and you can do this with any flowers that you have. Any flowers, like the different flowers that we've already released, other stencils that you have. And yes, Tom, that was a great question because practice does make perfect, right? And don't give up if something doesn't look good. Don't say, well, I can't do it. You absolutely can do this. You can do this. I mean, I am not, you've seen my coloring. I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but I practiced this a little bit. And I have a lot of throwaways. I have these that I didn't like. Huge difference between those two. Huge. And then I thought, okay, maybe I'm going light, medium, dark. Maybe that's not what I should be doing. All right, let me try 2 different colors. Nope, still not there. It was my 3rd time with the orange that I decided to actually look at what a zinnia looked like. And this is more of what I saw. So it looks hard. It's not hard. It's just understanding what you're looking at and then actually doing it. So did that help your question, Tom?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so now we're going to do the greens. Now the greens, I'm not as good with the greens because I don't have a lot of the layers. So I'm going to have to kind of like wing it just with my blending brushes and my eyeballs. So let me find a blending brush that I can use. I want to use the colors I want to use are light spruce and medium spruce. I think these are going to be pretty. They're soft colors. Although on this one I used jelly bean and fresh asparagus, and that is very pretty with the oranges. But let's do one with the spruces, because here's one that I did right. This was my practice one that I feel like I did better. I did get green on there, but I felt like the spruces looked really pretty with this. This is softer. So that's what we're going to do here. Okay. So again, here's where I made my mistake too. When I got green on here, here's where I made my mistake. You'll notice that this layer does two things, right? It does the centers and it also does the leaves. So dummy me didn't think about it, but I'm just taking a little masking magic and I'm just going to cover that so I don't have that same mistake again. Like that. Just covering up my work a little bit here. And I don't think I'm dumb. I know I say that a lot. Dummy me. I'm kidding. I'm not that dumb. Sometimes, though, sometimes I can be a little bit on that side. Okay, so I am going to clean this brush a little bit. I think I might have over alcoholed there, but we'll use it later. I just want to clean some of the darker off of that. All right, so we're going to do light spruce. So I'm going to ink this up. Now, when it comes to the leaves, to get a little bit of depth, I am going to make it a little darker where in nature, you know, if you have a flower, right, a flower sitting here on a stem, right? See what happens to the top of the blending brush? Down here it looks bright white, but where my flower is covering the stem, it gets a little bit darker up here. So I'm going to emulate that by just making the tops here of the stem in the darker spruce. And then the top here of this leaf I'm going to do in the darker spruce because it would just cast a little bit of a shadow, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just start here and then I'm going to get a little lighter as I go down, like that, just to create that little bit of shading. And then I'm getting lighter as I go down. So there's not like a huge like science to this, right? We're not doing what other people do when they're coloring with Copics or they're doing colored pencils like without any Gamsol and they kind of know all the different colors to create that look. The benefit of these coloring stencils is, and blending brushes, is you can do that very easily all with one color just by lightening up your hand, lightening up your technique a little bit. We don't need 5 different colored pencils to do that. All right. Yeah, this is a great stencil. I hope that those of you who are getting it really enjoy it. And I feel like zinnias are also really pretty in the summer. So this is one of those stencils that you can use all winter, well, all fall long. You certainly can always do it in red and green for Christmas because any stencil, flower stencil looks great in red and green for Christmas. And then, of course, with zinnias, I mean, to me, these kind of look a little bit like my marigolds that are out in my garden. Not exactly, but close enough that I could turn it into a summer flower for sure. Okay, so now I'm going to get another blending brush here. Aw, you guys, I love you guys. This one has like a jelly bean on it, so I'm just going to clean it because I don't know where my spruce one is. Probably because I have 2 that look like this, and I probably grabbed the wrong one last time, but you could see I cleaned most of that off. All right, now I'm going to accent what I just talked about, so I'm going to go even a little darker in here, like that.
I love this when a typo yields a great phrase of the day.
Uh-oh.
This is from Diana Taylor, who just posted.
I've done this before with Gina, like when she did the gray scare. Yes, I love it. I love you, Diana.
Gray scare.
Oh, that's great. Tom, that's what you should have called it when you asked me to do it, because you
I
started
know,
all that. See, you got to consult Diana going forward.
Gray scare.
I love that. We're only teasing you, Diane. I hope you know that. We love you. Okay, so you could see already now we're getting a lot of really cool blend going here, even though we only have one layer so far. See, I'm just adding a little bit like underneath, right? Because underneath, like we're looking at the leaf and the sun is hitting it, and then underneath it's getting a little darker. All right, Tom, they're asking for a word of the day. You started it now. You gotta do a word of the day.
All right, right into it here.
Yep, right
From
into
the
it.
dead space. Soon to be back. Very soon to be back in the dead space. Today's word of the day is persfiguten. Persfiguten. Any idea what that might mean?
I don't even know if I want to know what that is.
Persfiguten is the word of the day, and that describes the look on Gina's face when we're standing at the checkout line in IKEA, and she just remembered that she left her purse in the cafeteria. And we did the follow the arrows backwards in a panic.
And that's the Swedish word?
That's the Swedish word.
I did that the other night. We were buying a little storage cabinet for my craft room at home, and we stopped and got Tom calls them plant balls because he gets the vegan meatballs. And I left my purse on the back of the chair, and we left. Persfiguten.
Persfiguten. Way back to
Way
the
back.
dead space.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Okay, so now we've got some stems. Now on this layer, you may have noticed that there's these two things down here at the bottom. So we're going to go back and we are going to add these layers onto the leaves. And that kind of creates more depth right along the very bottom edge of these leaves. Oh my gosh, that's funny. So I think I'll grab the third color of spruce, the dark spruce here, and I'll add a little bit of that. Now I'm going to go not super heavy-handed because I don't want it to bleed under there. But I definitely want to add this dark spruce. There we go. I think that'll be really pretty. Yes. Okay. So there we go. That is the finished zinnia. What do you think of that, Tom?
Wow, wow, wow. That's one of those that you could just keep looking at.
I know, right? Ugh, it's such a pretty one. I can't believe I must have ordered that and somehow it never made it into our last release. And then when my team told me my manager, Kathy, was very proud of the team and said, "Can you believe these guys got all of the orders out in 7 business days?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "So we've got a little time now between now and the next release." And I thought, all right. And I was just walking around and looking at holiday stuff, and I'm like, how did I miss this one? It's so perfect for autumn. So we've got plenty of autumn left. All right, so now we should turn this into some sort of card. I feel like we should. Let's see, what would be a good thing to do here? Well, I do have Master Layouts 8. I don't know if I want to cut it though right now. I may have cut it a little too short too. So maybe we'll just trim it down and we'll make it fit. I could use Master Layout 17, but I think I'm just going to trim it down, mount it, and we'll just put it on a card base because it's just too pretty. I don't really want to lose any of the design. You can see here with this one, I did make it for an A2, and I did cut off a little bit of the flower, which is totally fine to do. I kept these two flowers because I really liked the way they turned out until I splooched green ink on it, but this is fine for an A2 card. But this one, we're going to make a bigger card out of it. So let's see, what size did I do this? I did it, I'm going to go 4 1/4. Cut a little off of this side. Yeah, why not?
I could see card with a card like this. I could see how you could have crafter's remorse.
Crafter's remorse?
Crafter's remorse, that's where you, it's so amazing that you feel bad making a card out of it.
I know, it's really a little piece of artwork, isn't it?
So you buy a frame and put it in the frame.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely could do that. All right, so I cut this down 4 1/4 by 6. And I'm going to cut a black piece of card base. 6 1/8. I'm just winging this because I just don't want to lose much here.
Vicky wants to know if there's any plans to make a grip mat with florals.
Oh, like a background stamp with florals?
I think
we could
so.
look into doing that. Maybe. All right, so 6 1/8. And then I'm going to the 4 1/4 inch mark, and I'm going to go up another 1/8 from there. So this should work. I can't see cutting too much of this off, right? Let me zoom out just a little bit. We're just going to make this a 5 by 7 card, even if it's not perfectly centered, because I'm going to cut a little more off the bottom here. Not of that, of this. I don't want to lose any of that flower. Okay. There we go. So
Yes.
we'll see what happens.
Lonnie would like to know, what ink colors would you use for yellow zinnias?
I would use for yellows. So it depends. If you want to go very pale yellow, I would use sweet corn and then maybe use butterscotch as your darker color. You could use butterscotch and then just a hint of honey mustard would be really good in the center of that, because that would really, really deepen everything up. So I would try those. There we go. It's my just wing it without a master layouts. So, okay. So for card base colors, I do want to just, oh man. I want to just look at Christmas Pine because I think that would be a pretty color. But then you kind of lose the black. That's too dark. So let's look at butterscotch. I kind of like that because there's no butterscotch in here and it feels more like fall. So I think we'll do butterscotch. What do you guys think? You like that? Really makes it cheerful. And Tom loves the yellows and the oranges. So we'll do that one for him. So I'm going to try making this a 5 by 7. So I'm cutting it at 10 inches and then at 7 inches. Now it's not going to be perfectly centered, but that's all right. If you wanted to use the master layouts, you definitely could, cut that panel first before you put it into the embossing folder. But, you're going to get some lines around it, so you might want to cut it down a little bit. I don't know. I think this is the easiest way for me to not lose any of this design today. I wish I had the lighter green in cardstock, but I don't. All right, so 5. But you're right, Tom. Like these embossing folders do make stuff pretty enough to just be artwork. And you know what would be really pretty, guys? All right. You know what would be really pretty? To make this into a calendar. Wouldn't that be like a pretty cover for a calendar? All right, so it's a little long, but I'm still okay with it. As long as I'm even top and bottom, I think it'll be fine. The other thing that we could do is, you know what we could do? Let me see if I have, this is all the junk that I brought home. I'm a mess. Let's see. Let me look for one thing. Let me see if this die will fit. This is just pretty, this die. It might not fit. This might fit though. Let's see. Will this fit? No. Will this fit? No. This will fit. I could trim that down a little bit and do like a little pretty border on the bottom, or let's see. Let me find my master layouts. Whatever it is. Which one, Brienne? Which one has the borders? The border dies. I think it's 20. Oh, it is 20, isn't it? No, it's not 20. It's 18. 18. Let's find that. My goodness. These are not in any order. I just grabbed everything, threw it in a box. I know it drives some people nuts when people aren't prepared in their lives. Well, welcome to my world. Here it is. Okay. We'll look at this and see how it looks. So we don't need a wide border, but I would love to do something. This might be a good one to do because, you know, I can make it as long or short as I want. And the other one is very pretty too. Better be in here. No, it's not in here. See, that's the story of my life. All right, let's try this. I'm going to cut this. And you know why it's not in there? Because I throw everything into places that I'm going to... I do like that one. But that video is coming up next, so I'm going to save that. All right, let me get my die cutting machine. Where are my people? Where are my disorganized people? I do not spend much time organizing. I know a lot of people do. A lot of people organize. Ooh, what color should I use for this? Should I do a little white border at the bottom? Let's just see. Or a little black border at the bottom. Like a little black scallop at the bottom. Should I try a little black scallop? I'm going to try it. I'm going to try a little black scallop. I would never do a black scallop, but I'm going to try it. Let's see how it goes. Okay. I'm gonna do my best. Okay, people are like, here I am your disorganized friend. Marianne's saying no, that I shouldn't be putting a border on the bottom. Well, I'm going to just cut it, and if we don't use it, that's fine. We don't have to use it, but I just want to see what it looks like. And then we'll pick a greeting, and we'll wrap up this card. This is a very pretty die cut piece. I do like it. So we'll look at it, and then we'll decide. And then in the meantime, gosh, what kind of greeting should I put on here? Should I make it like a fall Thanksgiving kind of card? All right. So here's what I'm thinking. Just having that little bit of that sticking out at the bottom just to give it a little, like lengthen it a little bit so that it fits the card a little better. What do you guys think? Of course, I'll trim that off. I want to know what they think. Like, does it just like give it a little bit of something, little jazz to it? I think it's pretty. Let's try it. Let's do it. If you don't like it and you make one of these, you don't have to do it on your card. And I think it's even going to be okay if I trim it right there. Like that. I think that's even going to be okay if it's just sticking out the bottom a little bit like that. I feel like it just gives it a little bit of balance. You know? All right, let's do it right. You know what I did last night, guys? For those of you that have been with me for a very long time, you know my daughter Rena was a competitive swimmer, right? She swam for the University of Minnesota in college, and she swam, of course, club in high school, and I spent a lot of time sitting my butt in the bleachers watching swim meets. Maybe I'm going to go right to the edge like this. I think it's going to look cleaner. It'll just give me a little bit of extra. Well, she was asked to coach a high school swim team. And I went to a swim meet last night, and I sat and watched. And it was so fun. It's been forever since I went to a swim meet, and it was super fun. I like your idea, cutting half the border and doing the top. That's a great idea. I did that on another card, and I feel like it looked really cute, but I taped it down already. It's going to have a lot of goop on it. So I'm just going to leave it this way, but that is a good idea. I just wanted to acknowledge that comment because that's a good suggestion. Then you could have a border on the top and the bottom. Everything is breaking. That just ran out of tape. It didn't really break. I just feel like that makes the card look a little more balanced. And I went to a swim meet last night. And so I was talking to some of the parents in the bleachers because I was there by myself. And you know, all the parents are like, oh, which one's your daughter? Which one's your daughter? And one of the moms said to me, which one's your daughter? And I said, mine's the one with the stopwatch. So it was kind of fun. Okay, so now let's pick a greeting. I feel like it doesn't even need a greeting. It's so pretty. But we got to make it into a card because this is a card making channel and we need to do it. Okay, so let's pick a greeting. It's a piece of cardstock. I picked a couple stamp sets that I thought would be pretty because it's an elegant card. So I thought we could either use Elegant Thoughts. We could do one of these. It'll be tiny. This is Harvest of Love. This is one of our new incentive sets. Very pretty, like Thanksgiving Blessings or Thankful for You. That would be pretty right there. Thankful for You. Thanksgiving Blessings. Should we make it a Thanksgiving card? Let's make it a Thanksgiving card. It'll be small greeting, but that's okay. That's actually better. It doesn't cover up much of the flowers. So tiny is good. I agree. Okay, so we'll do Thanksgiving Blessings. I really don't need this whole big piece of cardstock. Let me find something smaller. I know I have smaller pieces in here. Here's one, a little one. And then I'm just going to stamp it in black to play off that black border. It would be a nice sympathy card, Sarah. It's true. Or Thinking of You. Any of those. Give it one more layer here. This is our incentive set. It's called Harvest of Love. So if you purchase $75 worth of merchandise, you can choose this stamp set for free. And then you can also pick up the die set. So, you know, if that's something that you think you would like and you put an order in for $75, grab the stamp set because it's a good one. And it does have the Thanksgiving Blessings, but it also has a lot of other really pretty sayings in there. Sending you a harvest of love, harvest of thanks, harvest of gratitude, thankful for you. And then you can pick up the coordinating die set. All right, let's use the mini Intracut to cut this little greeting out. I'm getting weak. I'm too weak to pick up the big one right now. So here's the little baby. And I always put it on my grippy mat because putting it on the grip mat just stabilizes it a little bit more. Let's find the right one. This has a little piece of white in there because I've already made some Thanksgiving cards. So Thanksgiving blessings. Tape that down with some masking magic.
So does that sentiment go overlap the flowers?
It's going to overlap it, yep.
Yeah, you have a couple of requests going different ways.
There are so many different ways you could go with a card like this. But you know I love that little overlap, that little bit of dimension, just popping it up with some foam squares. And because this is a pretty flat card otherwise. All right, let's zoom in again. There we go. So I'm thinking that I'm just going to put it right down here like that. Because I do love the additional white space at the top. My eye is like drawn there. I feel good about that. So let me find my tweezers. Do I make cards outside of the videos? You know, Bonnie. It was Bonnie that asked that? Bonnie. I do. I don't make a lot of cards outside of the videos because in between videos, I'm usually preparing for either another video, like when I do my master layout series, or I'm preparing for a future release or for a class I'm teaching. But I really, really enjoy being in my craft room at night and working on cards at home. I just, it's so relaxing to me. I put on, you know what I've been watching lately? You guys will laugh. I'm so sick of the news. I don't want to see the news anymore. It's just, you know, I need a mental break from that. So I have been on YouTube. I spend a lot of time on YouTube. But I've been watching this show, Super Nanny. And if you've never watched that show, it's a really fun show. And this British super nanny, she comes in and helps people raise their children better. All right, so I'm going to put it right here. And some of those kids, I'll tell you, they are quite out of hand. But it's fun to watch, and it's like mindless. I can just listen and not think about anything else. Okay, couple little embellishments here. I think gold would be really pretty. You know, I love my gold pearls. White pearls would be pretty too. And black pearls would actually be really pretty as well because of the little black accents that we have. But I think I'll stick with the gold for this. Maybe I'll just do one there. Just kind of highlight around the greeting a little bit. Ooh, maybe that's, I should... No, I liked it better when this one was down here and that one was up there. I feel like that just gave me that triangle that I'm looking for. Just a little sprinkle. And I know like everybody has their thing that they like. Some of you don't like embellishments on a card like this. Some of you like different colors. Some of you like pearls. That's the beauty. I mean, we can each do what we like and they're all beautiful. They all turn out so nice. I do think black would have been pretty, but maybe a little bit distracting too, because you really want to focus on those beautiful flowers. And that just gives us a little touch of something. All right, well, what do you guys think of this embossing folder? Isn't that so pretty? Nice big card, a big 5x7 card. Oh, my mama would have loved this one. She would have thought that was so pretty. She liked big cards. Oh, nice. Well, what do you think, Tom? It's orange, too. It's your favorite color.
Yeah. What a wild ride that was.
Yeah, it was so fun. Well, you guys, if you liked today's video, and I sure hope that you have, if you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up. And then if you're new to the channel, there's a subscribe button that you can hit. We would love it to have you as a subscriber and hit all notifications so you never miss another video. And then if you aren't in our Facebook group, we'd love to have you over there. The Facebook group is called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. We've got 49,000 members over there that share beautiful card projects all day long. And also lots of great card making chats. So head over there and join our group. Just make sure you answer the questions and agree to the rules so we know you're not a bot. We'd love to have you. And then a big shout out to Brianne Loveland. Once again, Brianne, thank you so much for linking everything for everybody. You make it so easy for everybody to find what they need. But if you missed any of the links Brianne shared, you can find everything I used in today's video on our website at ginakdesigns.com. Well, now it is time to give away a gift card. So we're going to give away a $15 gift card to one of the lucky chatters today from Facebook and YouTube. So Tom, you are on.
Drum roll. Drum roll, please. Today's winner is Gail Paradise. Gail Paradise.
Yay, Gail. Congratulations. Gail, you are our winner. All you have to do is send your name and email address to info@ginakdesigns.com and we will get that gift card emailed right over to you. Well, everybody, this was so much fun. The new Sensational Zinnias are now available in our store at ginakdesigns.com. You can find this in the What's New category. You might have to scroll down a little bit to find it. But it is there. I checked right before we went on and it had just gone live. And then if you like this greeting, that's from the Harvest of Love incentive set and it's yours free with any $75 purchase. Right now our team is ready to ship orders. So if you placed an order at the beginning of the live, you may already have a shipping notice. That's how fast we're going today. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Tom and I will be back next Tuesday with another Stamp and Chat Live, and we might have a special video on Monday. So we're going to see if we can make that happen. If so, we will let you know for sure, both here on YouTube, on our post tab, and in our Facebook group and Facebook page. So stay tuned if we can make that happen. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. Stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.